an honor for me to be your moderator for this very special occasion, Webinar Series EDSA UNSIL 2020, exploring the diversity of English through world Englishes. And today we have 6 presenters who would present their topics. The first one is Rifa Dewi with the topic about what is world Englishes. Second is Iqbal Ashsyiddqie with the topic about a brief history about world Englishes. And third is Aulia Tasya with the topic about cultural consulting circle. The third is the fourth is Tetty Melia with the topic about the varieties of English. The fifth is Revani Mileniar Mustopa with the topic about is world English is important. And the last is Tanti Octavianti Juwita with the topic about holding the world through learning world Englishes. And before we start the presentation session, I will tell you the sequence of the seminar. The seminar is divided into 4 sessions. The first one is opening, second is presentation, third is question and answer, and fourth is closing. And now let's move on to the first speaker, Rifa Dewi, with the topic about what is world Englishes. To Rifa Dewi, time is yours.
Okay, thank you Irfan for the time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon everybody. An honor to meet with you here. I would like to say thank you for coming to this webinar. And I hope you are always healthy during this coronavirus pandemic. My name is Rifa Dewi. I'm from English Education Department, Siliwangi University. As we know, the theme of webinars is exploring the diversity of English through world Englishes. But before we explore more the diversity of world Englishes, of English through world Englishes, it would be great for us to know what world Englishes is first. So today I'm going to talk about what is world Englishes. I divided my presentation into 2 sections. The first, definition of world Englishes, and the second, the history of world Englishes. According to Rajan Mesri and Rakesh Embat, the term most often used to describe the varieties we are interested in are new Englishes or world Englishes. The term world Englishes refers to the differences in English language as it is variously used throughout the world. Let me explain more. Every country that adopted English language immediately started to make it its own, to shape it and put it in a direction it never was in before. An example, the adaptation can be seen in vocabulary. An example, there are 10,000 South Africa English terms and that are only used in South Africa. For example, the word robot. In Oxford Dictionary, robot means a machine can do certain human tasks automatically, while in Africa, robot means traffic light. It's different, right? And according to Czech records, English divided into 2 kinds. The first one is Old English, such as American English and British English. And the second one is New English, such as Jamaican English, Indian English, Pakistan English, Singapore English, and so on. And for New English, in the process, of course, it's become localized, that sometimes use is indigenized. In other words, it's taken on local characteristic or local accent. It may be influenced by some of the grammar, some of the vocabulary, some of the pronunciation features of the languages that are spoken in the countries where it is used. And that's what I mean by new Englishes or world Englishes. Simply, Word Englishes refers to the varieties of English language in the world. Now, move to the second section. Let's explore the history of World Englishes. The issue of World Englishes was first raised in 1978 to examine the concept of regional Englishes globally. The field of World Englishes proposed such concepts as appropriateness, intelligibility, comprehensibility, and interpretability as pragmatic factors that determine the use of English language as an international or intranational language. In 1988, at Teachers of English to Speakers of Other Languages conference in Honolulu, Hawaii, the International Committee at the Study of World Englishes was formed, and the participants that are from Bangladesh, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, India, Philippines, New Zealand, Great Britain, and Germany. In 1992, the International Committee of the Study of World Englishes formally launched the International Association of World Englishes at Conference of World Englishes today at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, United States of America. There is now an academic journal devoted to the study of this topic titled World Englishes. Simply, World Englishes is varieties of English language in the world, and now English language is spoken in many countries. David Crystal suggests all languages are as equal as their user wish to make them, and English emerges as an alternative rather than a threat. That's all from me. Thank you for listening. May all those what I have said be beneficial for all of us. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you for Revani Dewi for the explanation, and for all participants, your cameras, your microphone, and also don't share your screen because it distract our presentation. And for the next speakers is Muhammad Iqbal Ashsyiddqie with the topic about a brief history of English. For Muhammad Iqbal Ashsyiddqie, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you Irfan for the time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon everybody. How are you doing? I hope all of you in a very good condition. Okay, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Iqbal Ashsyiddqie, and it is an honor for me to be able to speak in front of all of you. Okay, this time I would like to deliver the material about the brief history of English. Well, let's get started. Okay, according to Professor Dr. Jürgen Henke, the history of English is divided into five periods. The first period is England before the English. The second is Old English. The third is the Middle English period, and the fourth is Early Modern English, and the last period is the Modern English. Let's begin from the first period. That is the England before English. It is in the 55 before Christ until 400 after Christ. Well, in the 55 before Christ, Britain was invaded by the Romans. Almost of the Britain region were under Roman rule except the northern part. You know that this one give advantages to the Britain, that the Roman protected the Britain from the barbarian section of the northern Europe. And then in the 410 until 600, Roman Empire was down, and the German-speaking tribes such as Scots, Jutes, and Anglo-Saxon start to invaded the Britain. Well, this is the sign of the end of this period. Okay, let's move to the next period, that is Old English period. Well, Professor Regine Mestri and Dr. Kesmahan in their book stated that English was derived from Germanic dialects, which is three of them are Anglo, Jutes, and Saxons. You know that this is had a relation between the previous period. Okay, now those three Germanic tribes formed a kingdom in the British Isle, and then and they lived in the Britain for several centuries. In this era, the common language used was Germanic language or Germanic dialect. It is known as Anglo-Saxon, or now we call it as Old English. That's why this period called as Old English. And then in the 700 or in the 8th until 11th centuries, the Viking invasion began, and this made the area of the Britain split into two parts. The first part is the Saxon, and the other one is Danes who spoke Old Norse. After several years later, there were a marriage between the Saxons and the Danes, which made the boundaries between the Saxons and the Danes were blurred, and then the Old Norse and the Old English mixed. Okay, that's for the Old English. Oh yeah, Old English is happened in 600 until 1100 after Christ. Let's move to the next period. This is Middle English period in the 1100 until 1500 after Christ. The beginning of this period is by the Battle of the Hustings in 1066. This is the battle between the Norman French army of William, which is Duke of the Normandy, with the English army under Harold Godwinson, the King of Anglo-Saxon. Yeah. After the Norman brought war to the British Isle, they placed a Norman king, that is William, on the English throne, and French became the language of the British royalty. Oh yeah, for your information, the Normans were the Vikings who lived in France, but they had left the language of Vikings, the culture of Vikings, and they lived in the French lifestyle, but they still fought or still fighting like the Vikings. Okay, in this era or in this period, the society in the Britain divided into two levels. The first level is French speaker, is aristocracy or the classy one, the people with the high class, and the another one is old English speaker, is peasant or the lower class. Because of this thing, the English speaker used the word that came from the Latin or the French to make their English become, classy and more sophisticated, because the Anglo-Saxon word seems so plain. Okay, that's for the Middle English period, and let's move to early modern English in 1500 until 1700 after Christ. Well, in this century, in the 15th until 17th centuries, a new standard English emerged. But the standardization of English pronunciation just started or just began in the 16th century, but it wasn't completely yet completed until the 18th century. This is because the growth of a standard was slow and unplanned, and also, English, the standard English was competing with the French, or with the French and the Latin, which considered more classy than or the standard English. That's why people in this period prefer to use French or Latin rather than the standard English. However, once the ideology of standard came into force, and with the increasing role of print, such as newspaper, and then magazine, some and anything else, and also radio broadcasting, standard English has has its own position and has its power in this period. Okay, that's all from the early modern English. Let's move on to the last period. This is modern English. It is happened, it is in 1700 until present. Okay, so in the 1500, English had a new position from the from the regional European language become the most widely used language that we use right now. Okay, so let's get back to the history. In the UK, English spread through the colonization in the Wales, Scotland, and the Ireland. Well, in the Ireland, English started spread in the 17th century with the new English migration and economic control that displaced Irish from three provinces. You know that at the first, the language used in Ireland is Irish English, or also known as Hiberno English, but then gradually become a language shift English from the 18th century. And how about in the Wales? Well, in the Wales, the use of English in Wales was began in the Norman period in the 12th century. Well, this is have a relation related to the previous period. This early modern English, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so yeah, the use of English in the Wales was began in the Norman period in the 12th century, and was formalized by the Tudors in the 16th century. Well, for your information, the Tudors were a Welsh English family that ruled England and Wales from 1485 until 1603. Then, in the 19th century, English really spread with industrialization and the immigration of English speakers that make English spread more than before. And it is also the same with the Scotland. In the 17th century, the Northumbrian English was taken by the Anglo-Saxons, or the Old English, and produced Scots. Scots is a language of Scotland, and in that time, Scots became a national language of the Scotland. Sorry, but in 1707, the status of Scots as national language or as official language of Scotland was reduced, and it is just become a social and regional dialect of English. So it's no longer official language of the Scotland. Yeah. Besides those three regions, the British or the Britain Empire also, do a colonialization in the several regions or several countries in the 15th century, and they create the empire starting from in the America, Canada, Caribbean, and then Africa, South Asia, Australia, New Zealand, and etc. And you know that many former colonies still use English as their official language or as their second language. So, that because of this thing, English was spread to the world, all over the world. That firstly, English just a regional language and now became the the most widely used language in the world. Yeah, until today we can hear, we can read, we can listening and speaking in English. Yeah, because of this thing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your nice attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you.
Okay, thank you for Iqbal for the explanation. And now let's move to the third speaker. There is Aulia Tasya Ajkia will topic about Kachur's concentric circle. Time is yours.
Alright. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you guys? Hopefully you are always healthy and blessed. I'm Mileniar and now it's my turn to deliver the material titled Catches and Centric Circle. In both Englishes, the varieties of English is not only British English or American English, but there are also Japanese English, Malay English, Thailand English, and so on. So what actually is Catcher's circle? Well, I will explain more deeply about Catcher's concentric circle. Basically, the model of the spread of English known as Catcher's concentric circle. It is called Catcher's concentric circle based on the name of the inventor, that is Raj Bihari Catcher. Raj Bihari Catcher was the linguist. He was a Nobel professor of language at University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. To better understand the use of English in different countries, Catcher conceived the idea of the three concentric circles of the language. The first is the inner circle, represents the traditional English. That includes the first is the United Kingdom, the United States, Australia, New Zealand, the Anglophone Canada, and some of the Caribbean territories. The total number of these English speakers in the inner circle as high as 380 million. Of sample of 120 million are outside the United States. And second is the outer circle, which includes countries where English is not the native tongue, but it is important for historical reason and plays a part in the nation's institutions, either as an official language or otherwise. This circle includes India, Nigeria, Philippines, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Malaysia, Tanzania, Kenya, non-Anglophone South Africa, and Canada. The total number of English in the outer circle is estimated to range of 150 million to 300 million. And the last is the expanding circle encompasses those countries where English plays no historical reason or governmental reason, governmental role, but where it's nevertheless widely used as a regional language or lingua franca. This includes much of the rest of the population, such as China, Russia, Japan, Europe, Korea, Egypt, Indonesia, and etc. The total of this expanding circle is the most difficult of estimate, especially because English may be employed for specific limited purposes such as business English. The estimates of these users range from 100 million to 1 billion. Thank you. The Moderator.
Okay, thank you for Aulia Tasya for the explanation. And now let's move on to Tetty Melia with a topic about the varieties of English. For Tetty Melia, time is yours.
Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thanks for staying tuned. How are you today? I hope you're always healthy. Okay, now let's move to the next topic with me, Tetty Melia, and my topic is about varieties of English. Okay, let's start it. According to Kin, 1983, English is a worldwide language. Between 1.5 until 2 billion people in the world speak English. Between 375,000 until 400,000 people are native English speakers. In view of the statistic, so many consider the English language to be a worldwide language. According to Robbins, 1979, English is the most widely spoken language in the world, having the distinct status of the official language of multiple countries, while the English language is uniform with major variation in spelling present between British English and American English. There are so many varieties of English in the world. The oldest varieties of English in the world is British English and American English. British English. British English is the spoken language by the great majority of educated people in South and Southern England, especially London and its vicinity, with 60 million people are native British English speakers. And American English. American English is general American the spoken language by the great majority of the American people, with the largest number, 225 million people, are native American English speakers. And the other major varieties of English in the world are Canadian English, Australian English, New Zealand English, South African English, and Indian English. Some linguistics also recognize another classification of varieties of English known as World English. And all varieties of English share the same basic tenets of the language, but certain words phrases of varieties linguistic construct may differ. For instance, in British English, one say, "I'm going to hospital." British English say, "I'm going to hospital." But in American English say, "I'm going to the hospital." In American say, "But I'm going to the hospital." In British English say, "He is going to the cinema." British English say, "He is going to the cinema." But in American English say, "He is going to the movies." In American English say, "He is going to the movies." Varieties of English may be further divided into dialect, such as Anglo-Cornish or Welsh English in Great Britain, Galah or Gulf Southern in the United States, Bengali English, and Southern Indian English in Indian. Okay, this is the varieties of English in the world that this is the varieties of English in the world over may communication with each other with only occasional gaps in understanding. That's all for me. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for Tetty Melia for the explanation. And now let's move on to the another speaker. There is Revani Mileniar Mustopa. The topic about is world English is important.
Yeah.
For Revani, the time is yours.
Okay. So thank you for Irfan and for giving me a time. So today I wanted to tell you about is the word English is important. Of course, obviously, word English is important. Why? I have that explained that three points of from my topic. So English is the common language. That means the common language. That means mostly people around the world they are talking in English. Like when you are going through traveling to around the world, definitely they will talk in English. If you can't talk in their mother tongue, they will talk in English. So I think English language is effective communication, can reach people better. That English word used must be simple language, so it can be easily to learn. And also English language is really plays in our real life. Like that means real life is like mostly what is that in our life, mostly people will be like English language. There's always English language, like from education and then communication. Even even when you are even when you will go, I mean, like when you're starting to work, and English language, there is always English because English become an important language nowadays. Like English language help us to communicate with nearly all people around the world, even through internet. So nowadays, English language, international English is become an international language uh, because uh, because mostly people around the world they use English as a second language, and then like 1,000 students travel to study, and then a businessman wish they were more fluent talking English, and having a strong grasp of the English language is a rare skill for non-native speaker. It may not be the most commonly spoken native language in the world, but English language reputation as the global language uh, because because English become a language international because of more people they learning English language than any other language. Like just like me, I prefer learn English language because mostly people they are studying English language to talking in with people around the world. So I have studied about what English is. Uh, uh, if I'm not wrong, maybe last semester. What English is really important to learn, especially for me. Like that I study in English educational, so it's really important to learn. So it can make us to know a variety of English, and then we can know about the accent that maybe we only knew that English is only used like a two accent, American and British. But there's a lot of that. But there is a lot of accent like a Pakistani accent, Indian, and still more. So this is really this is why word English is really important to learn. Yeah, that's for me. And if I'm talking too fast, you can ask the question after this session. And thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you for Revani, Mileniar, Mustopa for the explanation. And now we move on to the last speakers. The last speaker is Tanti Octavianti Juwita with the topic about holding the world through learning world. So for Tanti, time is yours.
Well, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome in the last session, Holding the World Through Learning World English with me, Tanti Octavianti Juwita. Let's get started. Well, everyone, Carlos F. Mayer from Cambridge University Press stated that currently English has spread throughout the world and many changes to the English language over time due to various factors. And Edgar Westeiner from University of Regensburg stated that standard English has been provided as very useful variation, communicating in areas with libraries with special linguistic features have developed in multilingual countries such as Malaysia, Singapore, India, and many countries in the world where English is presented as a valuable language for understood why English nowadays is right. So what do we need to take part in this situation? Shall we learn all Englishes or how? Because fluent kinds of doors of life, so that you can hold the word very easily. Well, everyone, here I'd like to talk more about world Englishes. Here I have some points. First is reason why we should learn world Englishes, and the second is tips on how to easily learn Englishes. Well, everyone, the first point is about the reason why we should learn world Englishes. When we master the variation of English, the process of mingling with others from various countries will be very easy, right? In addition to adding a we can also add friends because we already understand the culture and languages. Because according to Hartmut C. 2000, from the acquisition of third language, people in every country will speak English in their own way that influenced by various factors. No longer English according to the standard. So we will be easier to get along with anyone in various countries when we can adapt, especially in language. For example, if you like to serve in cyberspace with good command of Englishes, then to expand the network or relationship of other countries is no longer an obstacle. Even more, so if our surfing activities are aimed at online business, this will open to get customers from all over the world. So everyone has aspiration to set foot abroad, right? Whether it is vacation, work, or school. We should know that the outside world, foreigners are more likely to master English if we have the ability to speak English according to variation, or we can call Englishes in any country. We will not get lost because we are able to adjust the language, right? And the opportunity to get friends from abroad is very large because by mastering English, we will easily be familiar with a lot of socializing. That's why English is very important for modern people. Well, everyone's second is about tips on how to easily learn English. Well, everyone already knows that there are so many Englishes. So how we can understand the whole? And Science Fair 2010 stated that we can learn English with strategies to utilize diligently sophistication daily, especially by using applications such as Duolingo, ABI English, Moodle, HelloTalk, and other foreign language learning applications. Even from some of these applications, they are non-paid or offline. And I also recommended this current application to address this communication with foreigners from various countries because there is a voice chat features. So we can find out how the differences in English, which include dialect, pronunciation, and so on. So from this process, we can understand the differences in English in each country. So according to GEM CSL, we also can use YouTube as one of the biggest and most well-known media, right? Because YouTube has quite complex content, including learning English. We can watch various videos from world English, such as videos of English variation that showing different Malaysian English, Indian English, British English, and Singapore English. So you can search on YouTube itself. So I hope everyone can be motivated to learn world English to hold the world and do not give up to learn it because Chinese proverb stated that to learn a language is to have one more window from which to look at the world. Thank you for your nice attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you for Tanti and for the explanation. That's the end of the session of presentation session. And now we are moving to the next session is question and answer. And so please, to all participants who have a question to the presenter, please ask the question into the chat box. So we have 15 minutes to this session. So anyone who have question to the speakers or to the presenters, I'm sorry, can ask the question into the chat box starting from now, please. And also you can ask to one of the presenter or all of the presenter. Okay, thank you, Mariam, for the question. So there are questions from Mariam. The question is, how important is English to the world, especially to the world of education? He want to ask this question to Revani. And for Revani, please answer the question from Mariam.
Okay, so I wanted to answer the question for wait a minute. Mariam. Okay, so how important is English to the world, especially to the world of education? It's really important because mostly in education they will use it English language, like even school, even university. English language is really important in education world because mostly they will because people all around the world they will, in education, they are talking in English, not with their mother tongue. So this is why English language is really important with the word of education. Okay, that's enough.
Okay, thank you. Is it enough or there's something else you want to ask? Okay, Mariam is still typing. And for others, if there's any question, please write down in the chat box. Okay, you're welcome. And
You're welcome.
Any,
It's my pleasure.
any others who want to ask a question for the presenter? We wait for until 1:44. You can still 10 minutes left asking a question. Tasya, think you want to ask a question? What are all of presenter? Any other question maybe? Please write down in chat box. Okay, there is a question from Sifoni. How your opinion with latest condition, how do we explore the diversity of English through world Englishes? You can only access
Duluan ya, Bang.
reading
Bisa ya, bener agak mendingan dari kemarin.
Okay, so I wanted to answer the question from Symphony. Okay, how your opinion with the now condition? How do we explore the diversity of English through the world English while we now can only access the internet by limiting ourselves with the other people? So I think the condition is right now is kinda it's good because from the internet we can know people around the world and to explore the diversity of English that we should what is it a respect to each other. And I'm sorry if there's another sound because I'm in my home. So can if my answer is not enough for you, maybe one of my friends can add some the answer. Yep, that's for
so
me.
thank you, Revani. Maybe other presenters wants to adding some uh, answer for symphony question.
Well, can you hear my voice?
Yes.
Yes. Um, Hello, my name is Tanti Octavianti Juwita, and I want to adding the answer from Revani. How your opinion with the now condition? How do we explore the diversity of English through world English, while we now can only access the internet? Yes. We know together now is there is coronavirus, so every people cannot go abroad or cannot go everywhere, especially go to another country. So we can just access the internet. So the big what the big opinion is about, we don't limit ourselves just only because the condition, because internet is very important, internet is very useful for us. We can what we can use or we can watch YouTube, we can search the information about world Englishes through the internet. We don't limit ourselves just because the condition. We can learn English or we can learn in world English is through internet itself. We can use internet useful, very useful. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Thank you for adding the answer. Nanti Octavianti Juwita. And maybe there is another question from the participant, please. We still have about 2 minutes, or maybe we can adding few minutes. So there's another question. Okay, there is question from Krishna. For Tetty Melia. For Tetty, please turn on your webcam and your microphone. Tetty Melia earlier said there are many varieties of English. My question, how many varieties of English? I mean, can you give me in number? And can you mention some, for example, again?
Okay, I want to answer the question from Krishna. How many varieties of English and varieties of English in the world is wait a minute. Wait. Okay, varieties of English in the world is, like, for example, Canadian English, Australian English, New Zealand English, South African English, Korean English, Malaysian English, Singapore English, Indian English, and so on. Okay, clear?
Tati, can you what is it? The exact number, how much the varieties of English, maybe, or others can give adding some answer.
Oh, varieties of English is Canadian English.
Can I add the answer?
Yes, please.
Yes. Well, in the previous presenter has explained more about Kachu's cycle. So if we want to know how many varieties of English based on Kachu cycle, there are 31 varieties.
Yeah,
Is inner cycle, yeah. Canada,
sorry,
New Zealand, Kenya, Pakistan, Sri Lanka,
clear enough.
Ghana, Malaysia, Philippines, Tanzania, India, Nigeria, Singapore, Zambia, and the expanding cycle, China, Indonesia, Korea, South Africa, Caribbean countries, Israel, Nepal, South America, Zimbabwe, Egypt, Japan, Saudi Arabia, and Taiwan. That is varieties of English based on cultural cycle.
So,
There are one.
Okay, based on cultural circle, there are 31 varieties of English.
Varieties of English in the world.
Yes.
About the variety of English, does have a big influence on education. Yeah, I think varieties of English in the world have a big influence to education, because in the world many people from the different countries with the varieties of with the different countries, so the people can communicate with each other with the English language, with the different accent in the world.
Sorry, your voice.
No, currently, you can hear my voice.
Yeah, but
okay.
Before it's not clear. Yes, please repeat your answer.
Okay. In my opinion, the varieties of English is influence to education, because in the world there are so many varieties of English. There are so many people with different countries. So the different the people with different country can communicate with each other with the English language with the different accent uh, from the other countries.
Okay, so the, so English the varieties of English is very influenced on education because many people in the world from different countries learning or study in uh, a university or a college. They have a different background, different nationality sometimes, and it can build a communication between them. If we learn about world linguistics, we can know and we can learn about their variety of English, some kind of like that. Okay, there are questions from Desmond. Based on the material that Tetty
That's
Melia has performed, I want to ask which of the various language which is which of the various language variations are usually used by many people? Oh,
I
many
think
question for yes, please
I think
answer.
uh, I think British English and American English.
Okay. Oh yeah, British English and American English because in the school and in university or in college, also
Yeah,
uh, we have
use
some standardized English that oftenly uh, use American or
British.
British
English.
structure. And maybe this is the last question from Medi Christiani for part 30. Is it important to learn an English accent?
Yeah, this is important to learn English accent. We
Yes, please answer.
yeah,
Can
I
I
think
say-
Tanti or me, Tanti, please.
Teti,
okay? Can I answer the questions?
Okay.
sure.
Well, is it important to learn an English accent? Of course. Is it very important? Because one of the factors that influence English variation is about accent. So if we want to learn more about world linguistics, we should learn about accent. We should learn about their accent, how their pronunciation. Yes, the answer is very important because one of the factor that what influence the English variation in the world is accent. Thank you.
Okay, thank you
Uh,
for all presenters. Maybe Teti want to adding some answer.
yeah.
Okay.
The English accent is important to learn English accent because uh, there are three main aspect: phonetic, vocab, and grammar.
Okay, that's it. Okay, thank you for all presenters who have been answer the question. Maybe this is at the end of the session of question and answer session. And I want to say I want to thank you to all participants who have been attend this occasion. And we are sorry if there's many mistake or there are many mistake and many errors because we still learn about world English itself. So we can conclude that world English is varieties of English that spread around the world. And according to the Jack Richard, English divided into two kind. There are Old English, yeah, such as British, American, and Canadian, and New English, such as African, Singaporean, and many more. And the histories of English divided into 5 ages. The first, England before the English, from 55 before Christ to 400 after Christ. And Old English from 600 to 1100 year. The Middle English period from 1100 year to uh, 1500 of the century. Early modern English from 1500 to 1700 year. Modern English to from 1070 and 700 years till now. And there is a theory that invented by Bryce Kachru called Kachru concentric circle. Okay, for the question that can't be answered, you can send the answer via emails. So please put your email to the chat box. I will continue the conclusion. There is a theory invented by Bryce Kachru called Kachru's concentric circle, and Kachru divided English users into 3 circles. There are the inner circle, outer circle, and expanding circle. And amount of English user that's set by Tetty in the world, there are 1.5 to 2 billion people in the world speak English, and 375,000 till 400,000 people are native English speaker. 60 million people are native British English. 225 million people are native American English speaker. And the reason why world English is important because English is the common language. English plays important role in our lives, and English is called international language. And learning world English is important to holding the world because we can easier communicate each other in the world, with people in the world, so we can build a good relationship with them. And there are many ways to easier learn English. For example, we can use some English applications, or we can watch it on YouTube. Maybe that's it from this session. Thank you for your kind attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.